In this video, I'm in Edinburgh, home of the Forth Rail Bridge and the Forth Road Bridges, plural. And I'm here with my new car. And I'm going to show you what it is in a bit. First of all, here's how I got to Edinburgh. And so begins the last journey of Vauxhall. All the way to Edinburgh, 360 miles to go. And that'll take over 59,000 miles into 60,000, so that'll be quite an achievement. I'm going to strap this up as a time lapse, hopefully, and show you the journey. Spectacularly badly driven blue vans there, cruising down the middle of the motorway, and then almost crashing into each other as we came off. That was quite exciting. That's about 3.5 hours. I'm sorry for the slightly wonky angle. So I'm going to stop for a break. I think it is lunchtime. This is Charnock Richards, where I hopefully can get a cup of tea. Well, I know it's a long time since I've been to the north of England, but I'm a bit disappointed that this is your expected brand of tea. The Yorkshire tea machines are gone from Charnock Richards services. Very disappointing. On the plus side, I've just done about 3.5 hours to get here from deepest, darkest Wales, and my back isn't feeling too bad, which is good because there is still probably another 4 hours to go. This is going to be a very long day. I'm going to have some lunch and then we shall push on, and hopefully the weather will improve. Well, I think I'm going to ditch the time lapse because I don't think it's going to be particularly exciting for the next stretch. It appears to be raining. We've got a lot of motorway.
I don't understand.
What do you mean you don't understand? I haven't asked you anything. I don't know what my phone's on about, but it doesn't understand. But that's fine. Stupid thing. So yeah, we're going to push on to Edinburgh. 3 hours 20 to go. You know, it's getting more serious now because I've actually got the microphone plugged in. So yeah, no time lapse. We're just going to go for it. So, not for the first time, a car joins the fleet and soon after departs from it. What has the Vectra done wrong? Let's do that window up, there we go, it's a bit more peaceful. In truth, it hasn't done very much wrong. I mean, it's very good for this sort of thing. It's actually more comfortable than I think you expect on a longer trip. The problem is, the clutch is definitely on its way out. And that needs replacing, and I am not going to replace it. It's just not worth my while to do because I don't like the car enough. It's not that I hate the car. Miss Hubnut thinks I hate this car. I just don't like it enough for it to feel like good value to spend more money on it. There's also some problems around the back. It's actually had a thump up the back at some point. I knew this when I acquired the car, and behind the bumper it's all a bit of a mess. So it really needs sorting out. It needs a fair bit of welding there. I'm slightly surprised it has an MOT, to be honest, because my MOT man did not like it one little bit. But it has an MOT, so that's that. The person I'm trading with, because it is a straight swap, this for my new car, he is aware of that. He is aware of the clutch. Similarly, he's made me aware of issues on my new car. Oh, it's starting to get moody, misty and dramatic as we push on north. I think we might be at least getting close to Cumbria. 52 miles to the Scottish border, so it's still a fair old trek to go. Just thinking, the cars I've driven to Scotland most recently, a Jaguar I-Pace, a Citroen 2CV and now a Vauxhall Vectra. Hubnut, if nothing else, brings you variety. Soon I shall see the sign, the St Andrew's Cross. I'm not sure how well you're going to see it from where you are, but I can see it now. We have reached Scotland, and I don't know why that's so exciting. but it always is. I'm always thrilled to cross into Scotland. Of course, I've also driven to Scotland in a Toyota Tercel, not a Tercel, a Starlet, to add to the list of wondrous vehicles I've driven to Scotland in. I will say the Vectra is better than the Starlet. 112 miles to go until we reach Edinburgh, the capital city of Scotland, and one of my favourite cities. I love Edinburgh. I know my Glaswegian friends complain bitterly about that. Nice Subaru Impreza there. But yeah, I like Edinburgh. I don't know if we'll have any time for sightseeing. We might not on this trip. It's not the best circumstances, but I would like to, just because I like the place so much. It's on so many different levels. But nonetheless, we'll push on 112 miles, and then we can find a new car. Just having a bit of a leg stretch up at Annandale Water. I would have gone to T-Bay, the other side of the border, but it didn't fit very well with my earlier T-stop. Very nice Jaguar, or rather Daimler XJ just pulled in over there, but we need to push on. Oh, it's been quite a good journey. I'm blasting my way through my music. I haven't listened to The Verve yet, although they did crop up on a compilation album. That Sheryl Crow album is excellent. Coldplay hasn't happened yet. Instead, I've been listening to I've listened to OK Computer a few times, Uncle Science Fiction, REM, and somewhere is Gomez in this pile as well. Bring It On, a cracking album. But yeah, this one is very good. Uncle's Science Fiction. It's the first Uncle album. This compilation's got all sorts of great music on it, including Wheatus covering Erasure's A Little Respect. So having got to the land of squabbling seagulls and fantastic bridges, I suppose I should show you my new car. This is it. It's a Rover 75. I think a lot of you have been thinking it's about time I got a 75. It's not a brilliant example, but it was a direct swap for a not very brilliant Vectra. So we've declared our various issues. He knows about the rusty boot floor and the high clutch, and I know that it's a bit bashed about in places. Here is a place. Look, it's bashed. Oh, that's quite flappy. Lovely. That's amazing. And yeah, there's some other issues, like the cooling fans don't work at all. Not even on the aircon setting. Very, very common. Very, very flimsy. And that brings us to one of the points. A lot of people have said I should love the Rover 75, and the truth is I don't really. But nonetheless, oh, that Mercedes sounds very nice. I'm going to put this one through its paces. I didn't really want to borrow a Rover 75 from someone in case I upset them, but yeah, I had a Tourer some years ago that I didn't really like, so it'll be interesting to see if I get on better with this. This is a Club CDT, so it's got the 115 brake horsepower BMW 4-cylinder diesel option, same as my Tourer did. So it's not quick, especially after the Vectra, which is quite pokey because it is a big lumper car with only 115 brake horsepower. Yeah, that's not very much to shift it. It's a gorgeous colour. I forgot what copper leaf. That's it, copper leaf red. One of my favourite colours. I quite like the Wedgwood blue as well. I think the Wedgwood blue really suits the Rover 75. You'll see, having a quick look around, it's not too bad. It could do with a full-size 75 number plate. It's missing this sill trim because it's had quite a bash here, and that's not as rusty. Yeah, okay, there's a hole there. I'm expecting some welding work to do. It has an MOT until November. But yeah, I mean, a very stylish car, so I don't deny that. I think it was Richard Woolley who also did the Rover 600, did this concept. A very different car, lots of chrome bright work. It was meant to be very retro. And I like the fact it is retro, yet somehow manages to look like nothing else. I'm going to flip the camera. We'll study the interior. Now inside, I must admit, things are lovely. Just look at those dials. And I've left the lights on just to illuminate them even better. They just look gorgeous. I always thought these have a gorgeous dashboard. It's the manual gearbox. All my rubbish is in it. I've just hurled it in. It's not a great gearbox. The clutch has a much shorter travel than the Vectra, but it just feels very spongy. And the gear change, it just doesn't feel very executive to me. A bit like if you've ever driven a 1980s Mercedes with a manual box. It just feels like Mercedes didn't really know what they were doing with manuals. But being a club, we've got the climate control, we've got electric windows, but there's a few toys we haven't got. We haven't got cruise control, and yeah, I don't know what else we're missing. Different entertainment system, but this has been replaced by a Pioneer with a blanking plate, which means these buttons probably don't work anymore. Because yeah, they're not connected. And there's another issue as well while we're looking at these gorgeous dials, and that's the fibbing temperature gauge. We've got no cooling fans, but the temperature gauge goes up to the middle as you'd expect. The problem is it'll sit in the middle on a huge temperature range up to 115 degrees centigrade, which is considerably more than the boiling point of water. So if the gauge does go up, it means kind of your engine's screwed, really. There is a way of using the trip button, which I note is missing, to get through to a diagnostic mode so it'll actually show the coolant temperature. I might try and have a play with that tomorrow. The eagle-eyed may have noticed there's a pair of pliers in here, and there's a reason for that. There's bits of trim missing over here for a start, but also that is the key. And the worst news is, yeah, you really need this bit. This has got the immobilizer chip in it, but yeah, it seems to have snapped off. So you can't start the car with this, which is what it really wants. It just twists. So you've got to get the immobilizer nice and close while twisting that. And it does come out, so you can open the doors. I say it comes out, it's not in the unlock position. There we go. So yeah, I've got the key blade, but it's ripped out of here. I've never seen anything quite like that before. Looks like something else might be missing to reinforce that, because I can't believe a bit of plastic is just going to hold that. But evidently it doesn't work. Right, let's try and show you how to start this. You must grip, let's make sure we're in neutral, that with this, but you've got to get that close enough for it to detect the chip, and it's the wrong way around. There we go, so hopefully it has. And I've got to get in with this. That's our ignition position, and hopefully, oh yeah, I heard the clicks of relays. There we go. No, I'm sorry, I bashed the camera there, but that's how easy it is to start my car. That's going to be great fun tomorrow. Incidentally, now we've got it running, look how much diesel it's got. That's very generous of Lee. I'm afraid the Vectra didn't have that much fuel, so it's almost 3/4 of a tank. That might well get me home. But yeah, listen to that delicious roar. Now it sounds like something's a bit tensiony going on. You can see we've got an ABS light on. He reckons the sensor's down, so I need to look at that. But yeah, there we go. It's grey in here. My connoisseur had leather and was beige, but I prefer these seats. They're very similar to the seats in my Rover 45. So cloth in the club. My Rover 45 was also a club. Oh. There we go. The lights work. That's quite moody. We got soft close handles. That's always nice. No mirrors lighting, because it's just the base, not the base, the lower spec club. But yeah, given we haven't got any cooling system, maybe we'll stop the engine, and I'd probably better take the key blank with me as well, because I don't want to get locked out of the car. That's going to be very easy to lose. But yeah, it's a nice comfortable seating position. I quite like the indicator noise, even though I reckon it's false. Maybe there is a relay, I don't know. It doesn't quite sound right. The central locking appears to work. So it's all of the good times. I think this should be lovely to travel back to Wales in. Well, here in the back it's quite lovely. Again, we've got little individual lights here. That's quite smart. And they're on the soft dim. Let's just check there's no one coming. Oh, apparently only one of the bulbs is on the soft dim, but it should slowly fade out. Yeah, we'll leave that doing its thing. It'll go in a minute. Yeah, it's quite comfy back here. It really is. I've got quite a decent amount of knee room, actually. That's a surprise. I wasn't expecting quite that much. There we go. There's the soft dim. We've got a little drinks holder, pen holder in there. We've got a drinks holder springing out down here. I mean, the seat doesn't seem entirely attached, but it's a mere triviality. Fresh air vents in the back. I'm going to open them up because spread the love. Little ashtray down there. Yeah, this is all right. Head restraints. I think the kiddies will be happy here, but yeah, that gives a surprising amount of leg room. I think it's quite comfortable. I likes it. Of course, got the rear window here with no rear wiper because it's a saloon, and saloons apparently don't need rear wipers. Let's check we're all clear, and I'll show you the boot. Now the boot's also fun because you can't use the manual lock. You have to use the electric button, and so I'm quite reliant on that actually working. And it's fun when we get in the boot because we find it's full of quite a bit of car and my suitcase. There's inner arch liners, there's what looks like radiator cowl. I'm not sure why that's not fitted. We've got a new cabin filter, but I imagine that's a pig to fit if it's anything like the 45. We've got a doubled in head unit that isn't fitted. Some bits for the brakes. Apparently the caliper sliders haven't got their little booties, they're in there. So because Lee, to be fair to him, through illness isn't quite able to work on cars as well as he used to, so he hasn't been able to keep on top of the job, which is why the car was for sale. But he offered it to me, and I just thought, well, if he'll take the Vectra so I don't have to bother selling it, because I hate selling cars, I reason they're probably similar value, so I think this will be all right. Isn't that a marvellous view? Anyway, we shall get the pliers out again and we shall try going for a drive. It might be a drive to my Airbnb, because I could do with getting there at some point and having some dinner. It's been a very, very long day. But yeah, I hope you like my Rover 75, because I think I do. Right, here we go then. I've got to remember the protocol. This is a car you definitely do not want to stall. Pliers. Oh, it's really difficult. No, not close enough. It didn't like that. There we go. Once it's started, you don't need that. Right, so I'm going to put all the lights on, and we shall make our way to where I'm staying tonight. Little annex, self-contained, so I can stay away from people, because that is apparently the way we're playing things at the moment. The clutch is quite heavy, and it isn't a very executive car noise. As fine as this BMW engine is, it seems to be pretty well regarded. It doesn't make a particularly pleasant noise at all. The V6 versions definitely win there. I do love the noise the V6s make. Remarkably, you could get the 2-litre V6 like my 45 had in the 75, but given that it struggled to move the 45, I'm not sure that's a good idea. Oh, this is very sweet. Try and spin you round for a look at this. This is very sweet and unexpected. This is old Edinburgh. Oh, this is beautiful. I didn't know this bit existed. Thank you, SatNav, for bringing me to this very pretty part of old Edinburgh. As you can feel, over cobbles and cobbles that are very badly patched, the suspension is not super, but because the seat is softer, not so much of it is transferred to my spine, so I'm considering that better, very much better. Sorry, you went off on one again, as so often happens. We should continue, but yeah, it's a really good diesel engine. Really, it's not particularly exciting, but it pulls well. It's laggy. There we go. But it's better than 80s turbo diesels, not as good as modern ones. So you got to remember this car is 19 years old now, so it's getting on for its 20th anniversary. The 75 itself came out in 98, I think. So this is quite a good age of 75. By 2001, BMW had sold Rover to the Phoenix Consortium, boo hiss, and cost cutting started to happen. It was already happening on these, but towards the end it got far worse. They were deleting absolutely everything to try and save a penny here and there. So 2001, not a bad age of Rover 75. They actually moved production from Cowley, where BMW is now based, building Minis, to Longbridge. So they had to shut down the production and move the lot. It must have been a massive undertaking. So the car was developed, the 75, with Rover's input. It very much a joint development, really, between the Rover and the BMW engineers. BMW engineers sort of got their way on more than Rover people would probably have liked. There's a lot of stupid talk on the internet, good old internet, for these cars just use the 5 Series platform. But think about that for a moment. This is front wheel drive and the 5 Series is not. There's also the fact that when they did convert the 75 to rear wheel drive for the V8 version, it was a massive undertaking. So further reinforces the fact that, yeah, this was not a BMW platform. It shares similarities. I think they use a version of the Z axle at the back, which was used on the rear wheel drive cars. But yeah, it isn't a BMW lift. I think it is actually quite similar to the Mini. I think effectively the Mini is a shortened 75 platform. But that seems to work quite well. So yeah, why change things? This thankfully has softer suspension. So there's a lot of controversy around the 75. It didn't get off to the best start in life because the boss of BMW kind of used the launch ceremony to complain about the fact that Rover was a bit of a dud, it realised, and it might have to change things and shut things down. So that was really positive. Well done, BMW. I think much like when Ford bought Jaguar, I don't think they really realised what they were getting. And when they realised what they were getting, they didn't like it. What are we taking here? Stay on the A90 south, okay? But, you know, a bit of wind noise going on around the window seals. That's not ideal, but I think this is going to do the job for cruising. If we just briefly get up to 70, that's about 2,500 revs. That's going to be a lot more relaxing than the Vectra. So while there is some wind noise, that's a little disappointing. You can't exactly call it noisy. There's a bit less road noise than the Vectra. So hopefully this will be alright. It's just a bit weird. I feel like I'm sitting a bit high up. I might have to play with a driver's seat height adjustment if I can. I should assume there is some, but I'm not going to play with it now because I feel like I'm sitting a bit too high up. And this header rail seems very low. It's one of the things I remember from my 75 is that yeah, you feel very enclosed in it, but it doesn't feel as oppressive as I remember. So maybe I'm going to like this more than I thought I would. Suspension now is feeling quite floaty. Now we're off the broken roads, so I think there's a lot here to like. The 75 owes nothing to previous Rovers. It replaced the 600 and the 800 at the same time. Engine options initially were 2-litre V6. I think they did a 1.8 non-turbo as the real poverty option. And so then the 2-litre V6, 2.5-litre V6, or the 2-litre BMW diesel. So the V6 is Rover's KV6, which they had ironed a lot of the bugs out, and the 1.8 is the K series. Later on they replaced the 2-litre V6 with a 1.8 turbo, mostly for emissions reasons I think, and because the 2-litre V6 drank like a fish and basically had no power. Quite nice actually, the 1.8 turbos, but obviously you've got the head gasket woes. I spoke a bit too lightly of K-Series head gaskets recently in my test of a Rover 400 R8, which then promptly blew its head gasket. But to be fair, my friend Gavin has a Honda engined Rover 400 and in almost the same week, that also blew its head gasket. So, you know, engines blow head gaskets. The K-Series does seem a little prone, but Peugeot's XUD, a superb, excellent diesel engine, can blow head gaskets. I believe these can blow head gaskets. Interestingly, these diesel engines have a timing chain, so at least I haven't got to worry about a timing belt. That makes me feel a lot more confident, and it sounds a lot quieter than the chain on the Vectra. So hopefully it'll be alright. It was even serviced fairly recently, this car. Now there was a CDTI which had 130 brake horse, I think, and I think that's all done in the engine management. You can get into the computer and change things, but I have a feeling it's a Rover specific system, so it's not easily done. It isn't OBD2. It's not an easy car to meddle with, which is a bit of a shame. But we'll have a play, because you know I want to see what I can get up on the diagnostics. A live temperature readout would be good. Thankfully the ambient temperature is quite low. I don't know how low, because I don't think I've got that technology in this car to tell me what the outside temperature is. But yeah, so far I'm liking it. I'm considering this a good swap. Now, longer term, I might not keep this car, because I know what I'm like. It's pointless me saying I'm going to keep a car, because I probably won't. So I think I would like to try and improve this car, get it an MOT. MOT's up in November, so I can get it tested some point in October, and well, hopefully get it MOT'd, and if all goes well, then look to move it on. But I don't want to straight sale it. I quite like this. I swapped the Delica for a Vectra and some money. That was good. And then I swapped the Vectra for this. So yeah, in the future maybe I'll swap this for something else, but for the moment this is the ideal car. I know from personal experience they can be very economical. I got 49 mpg out of my estate on a run, so I was more than happy with that. Oh, wipers, we haven't done wipers. I'm slightly reluctant to, because the wiper blades are rubbish. There we go, plenty of screen wash. There is a very slight triangle of doom, and I think that is a problem on these cars. I think they do have that. Much smaller than the City Rover. Is there a mist function? Oh yeah, there we go. But yeah, it could definitely do with some new wiper blades. These are atrocious. Oh look, I've got a dribble from my triangle of doom. So that is that. My Rover 75. I've reached my Airbnb, which is in one of these lovely apartment buildings. So I'm going to go and get settled in, and then tomorrow start the long journey back. I'm breaking up the journey, stopping off along the way to do some road tests. So I've got another night on the road, which means I can take things gently tomorrow. But I thought you'd want to see this as soon as possible, so I'm going to get this video knocked out, get that edited up online tonight hopefully, and then I can tell you more about this car in a future video. Don't forget to head to the Hubnut store to buy lovely merchandise, and I look forward to seeing you in a future video. Farewell. Oh yeah. Suspect it'll be dinner a la microwave tonight, which for the I should point out, it is not called a popty ping in Welsh. Popty is Welsh for oven, but yeah, they don't actually call a microwave a popty ping. They call it a microdon, or just microwave, because the Welsh will sometimes just nick the English word, in much the same way that the English nick foreign words as well, like garage, which is just garage from the French. And oddly, the Americans actually honour that more, because they use the word as garage